Okay, the next thing we want to do is change the look of this screen a little bit. Make it look a little nicer. First I want to, I never changed this since the last video, but here's our updated one. This is old, so what I like to do at the beginning of each day is delete my copy and then create another copy. So now these two are identical at the beginning of the day, and I do it several times throughout the day as I'm coding, because especially if I'm starting a new venture on something. So here we're going to open this up. Oh, I didn't have to do that. It's already open. Okay. I have created several images here. Thought I had more than that. Oh, some of them ended up here. Paste them here. Okay, so I have all these images inside of my images folder. Okay, let's go up here to tools and open up our browser. I like to do this because it's a little neater. We have a card which we're looking at here. I'm going to rename that card to home or main or whatever you want to call it. Right click on it and say new card, and automatically goes to the one you just created. I'm going to name this one images. Okay, so I have an images card and a home card. My home card has all our stuff on it. The user will probably never see the images card. Well, they will never see the images card. They'll only see the home card. But I can upload all my images to this card here, and they're in the background, and I can call them. So I go to File, I go to Import Control, or Import as Control, and here we can import several things as control. We can import an image, an audio file, video, text file. We're going to do an image right now. And it just goes to a file chooser. Let's see here. Yes, I need to select all of these except for the background. I'm not going to do that one right now. So open. It just stacks them on top of each other here. So, oops. There's my stops. And you see how I made one that's crystal clear and the other one's kind of glowed out or something? What I want to do is have a hover over effect. It looks like this normally. When I hover over it, looks like this one. So I created all of them. Created 2 images of each kind. Here's my play buttons. Here's my pause buttons. Okay, there's all my images. Now we'll go back to home and we'll start putting these images on. Now the play button, let's do the skip back first. Let's go to Inspector, and first thing we need to do is make it transparent because we don't want to have the background color. We also want to take the name away so it doesn't show the name anymore. Then we need to go to size and make it 60 by 60 because that's the size I made those pictures. Well, the skip pictures. Then go to I didn't show you that. Click here to icons and click on the icon. The top one is the default icon, and you have built-in icons from Livecode, which, by the way, I can't figure out how to make them work. They only work when you're in development mode, but when you make a standalone application out of it, these pictures just go away and all your buttons have no images on them. So I don't like to use these. I make my own images. We go down to this stack, and these are all the images that I have just uploaded. For the life of me, I can't understand why some of them don't populate in this little thing. But we can see, we'll play around with it. Here's our skip back, the clear one, and here's the overglowed one. So we'll choose the clear one, and there it is. And then we'll do the hover icon of it, and we'll do the glowed out one. Alright, now I'll show you how that works. When I hover over the button, you see how it looks like it highlighted for me. And all that is switching the icons in and out. Alright, so let's do the stop button. Now the stop button, we're going to do the same thing. Make it transparent, take away the name. Then I'm going to make it 80 by 80 because I made the stop and the play and the pause a little bit bigger. Icon is going to be the clear stop button. And the hovered one is going to be the glowed out stop button. We'll do the skip forward. And we'll take away the name, make it transparent. And this one again is going to be 60 by 60. Icon is going to be, that one looks glowed out. I think it's probably this one. Yes. And then the hovered icon is that one. I don't know why it populates that way, but it works out here. The ID number is what we're mainly going off of. Now, for the play is going to be a little different. Actually, we'll just start out. First, we need to make this transparent. And then we need to show name. No, I don't show the name. And then we want to make this 80. And then we want to go to icon and do our play, yes. And I think this is the other one. Okay. Let's just bring this down here for now. Let's try it out. That one works. That one works. They all work. And the buttons do what you think they would do still.
As I went.
Okay, so the next thing is, on most players, when you push play, this changes into a pause button then, so you can pause it. So we'll do that too. That's going to be done through the code. Now, we want to go here to images and drop this down. And if you hover over some of these, like the pause, you can see it's ID 1025. We're going to need that number. And here's ID 1027. And also, let's click here, go to Inspector. If you hover over this icon, it says this is the icon. You hover over this, this is the hover icon. We need to know those keywords as well. So let's go to code for this button. And here I have on mouse up, I start the music player. Okay, and that just completely starts it. Now, I need to say, let me bring up my inspector again. I have to do a condition here. If the icon of me is 1027, if the icon of me is, 1027, then I want to start the music player. Else, I want to do something different. I also want to set the icon of me to, can't remember what it was. Now we want it to pause. 1025. 1025. Also, I want to set the hover icon of me to bring, okay, 1026. 1026, okay? Now, if it's not 1027, obviously it's going to be 1025. So I want to stop player music And then also want to do the same thing but set them back to what they originally were. And you can see what they are right here, 1027 and 1028. Oops. Okay, so that should work. Let's try it. So if I click here, push play. Good. Now on stop. Now essentially the stop button does the same thing. Oops. Going crazy on me. It does the same thing as the pause did, but I don't want that to happen. First thing I want to do is I want to put the let's see, how do I want to do this? Put line well, let's go here. That we don't have to think about it. Put the highlighted line of artists, put the highlighted line of albums. Good. And do the whole shebang just like that. Set the file name. These selected. And let's just, instead of doing this, let's just put line 1 of that. So it will, wherever I'm at, it will go back to line 1, and it will it'll start there at the beginning. So let's go ahead and go here, play that song. If I pause it, play, it does what a pause does. But if I stop, okay, so there's a few other things that need to happen. I totally botched the video up. I hope it's all right, but something didn't like what we just did there. Deselected song, and this is why. It's of me. It didn't know what me was. So let's do field songs, and so it wasn't. I'm in button stop, and so it doesn't have a selected line, a field, whatever. So this is a field songs. Now it should work. The other thing I want to do is actually go back and select that. So I want to say select line 1 of field songs. So I want actually, this was highlighted, but when I push stop, I want it to go back to that. Also, I want to change this from pause back to play. So if I go to my play button and I just copy this code right here and put that down here. Oops. And instead of saying me, I have to say button play, because I don't want to change the stops button icon to these things, just the button play. Now we should have it. Let's try it. Let's go down here to windy and warm. Okay, when I push stop, it went back to the beginning, and I'm ready for that. That makes sense. So I think now we have us a player that acts just like a regular one. The other thing we could do is on the albums button, our albums field. Here we're automatically selecting or putting the song 1 into the the music player. So I should also say select line 1 of field songs there as well. So it automatically selects it, so we know what we're going to be end up playing. So I'm going to click here and there, Number 1 is already selected. Number 1 is already selected. And that fixes this problem too. Goes right to song 2.
Oh, I could, as we.
Alright, so our player should work fine. With that, the other thing we can do to make this whole player look pretty neat is go back to our images and import one more image. And that's this blue background. Okay, so we can do a couple different things. We can size this down to fit our stack. And let's see here, let's go to, let's put it towards the back. So go here, and you can do layers. So we bring it all the way to layer 1. Everything else is going to be on top of it. Also, note the size. Let's make it 600 wide and 525 tall. And that should be fine. Okay, now we'll go back to our home. And we're looking at the stack music player. If I go to the home button and use shape, this is pretty neat. If I tick shape and I choose, and one thing I forgot to do, go back to your images, select, and see how this got big again? The large enlarged again. I forgot to do something on that. Let's go to sizing and say lock size and position. Now I can switch this to 600 and 525. Okay, so I can't drag it around the screen anymore. I can use my arrows to move it around with my keyboard. And I can't resize it because it's locked. I can resize it by code, later on. And I can also come here and, increment it back and forth and change it, but I can't dynamically change it, in development mode. So let's go back to home now. Go to Stack Music Player and click Shape, and we go to this stack and get that blue background. Now, you see how this stack changed its shape. I no longer have the title bar up here. It's the shape of that, what do you call it? Icon or picture. You see how it's cut off at the bottom because our size of our stack is not exactly what we had given it. Let's give it 600 here and 525 there. It automatically grew for us. Alright, now what you can do is go to colors, and in background fill, if you click here, you can choose a background color for it. If you choose here, you can choose a background image for it. And we'll choose that image. And there it is. Now we're going to have to go here, bring this down so we can see it. Hold our shift key down and select all of these fields. And then go to text fill and make them white. Now you can see it. So we just made our music player look a little nicer. The only problem with this is you can't drag it around, which we can change that on on the code. If we say just on the stack itself, on mouse down, grab stack. And what's this stack called? Music player. I think this will work. So it grabs it. Can't find object. Did I spell it wrong? Can't find object. Guess you can't do that, huh? So what we can do is on mouse. Let's try this. Still down. And this is when we hold the mouse button down. Set the lock of this stack, we'll just call it this stack, to the mouse lock. It doesn't seem to be working either. I don't know. That's the reason I don't like to use this type of thing where you change the shape of the stack, but it does look neat. And there are ways, I'll have to figure it out and show you, but there are ways to drag the stack around the screen by doing it. But now we have a pretty cool looking, music player. We can style this however we want. Like we can take these and make them opaque and then make the text to white. And then, turn off the vertical things. And you can change how that works too. By code, we can make this to where these won't show up unless they absolutely have to, and we can make them really thin. I can show you that on another video. But right now, here is our music player.
As we recall the greatest small.
Pretty cool. All right, we'll talk to you next time.